You ready to play?
Hi guys, I know it's been forever and I miss you guys so much. I am currently in the midst of packing my apartment to move. So this will be a voiceover because my apartment looks like I sell boxes for a living. But today, Scream 6 came out and I just got back maybe like a couple hours ago, and I had originally recorded my initial thoughts and then I sat on it a little bit more and now we're here. So I'm gonna go through this. I've never done a movie review on my channel before. I've recorded them, but they've never went up. I think I did one for like Unfriended. I've done it for a few horror movies, and for whatever reason, they just never made it on the channel. But we're gonna change that, okay? Because we got stuff to do. So Scream is one of my favorite franchises ever. I've seen Scream 2, Scream 4, Scream 5, and Scream 6 in theaters. I didn't see 1 or 3 in theaters. And I have to say, this is my favorite Scream movie since Scream 2. This will be spoiler. So if you don't want to know what happens in this movie, you might want to click over right now. Then we're going to be here for a little bit because I got a lot to say. And most of it is positive. If I had to rate this movie right now from a 1 to 10, I would give the movie a 9.5. So that'll kind of let you know where I feel like where I'm at with this. I can say if you guys know me, I love 3 things, and that's horror, Aaliyah, and Barbie. They so don't match, but you know, we here. So seeing this movie and kind of seeing what they did with this from 5, I was so pleasantly surprised because I was not a big fan of Scream 5. I don't think that it was a bad movie, but I think that the movie... So the guys who did Ready, if you've seen Ready or Not, which is a great horror movie. It's a great movie in general, but it's a really good movie. If you've seen Ready or Not, then you would know that Tyler and them, they know what they're doing. But Scream 5 kind of felt like fan service. And because Wes Craven had passed in, I think, 2014 or 2015, that Scream 4 was the last movie that I believe he did, in the last Scream movie that he had did. So there was really like, we're not going to do any more after he's gone. But they are so great at what they do. They reached out to Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell said yes. Courtney said yes. David Arquette said yes. And then we got a flock of new characters, which I wasn't mad at the characters. It was just that particular movie felt like it was think of a pizza that was like a cheese pizza. Not like extra cheese, just cheese, like a Celeste. But this Scream 6 feels like a DiGiorno. It feels like a Pizza Hut, whatever the hell them boxes are, them big boxes. It was so much here, but in such a great way. So we're gonna start off with the premise and the plot. If you have not seen Scream 5, I'm gonna give you a little rundown. So in Scream 5, it takes off from Scream 4, but it's not really related, so it doesn't really matter. But we have a young lady named Tara, who is played by Jenna Ortega, and she is attacked. She is like the Drew Barrymore. You know, it's an honor to get attacked in these movies in the very beginning, and you get killed, so you're the first kill. Jada did it. It's a lot of people who have done it in the beginning, where you're that girl, like to get killed on screen in Scream in the beginning is like a rite of passage. Okay, so she's attacked. Nobody really knows why she's attacked. Then we find out later that her sister is in another county. She ends up going to see her sister after she's been stabbed up, so she doesn't die. So this is the first in the Scream franchise, as it's being rebooted, where a person in the beginning who's attacked does not actually die. They actually survive. So we later find out that the reason why these things are happening is because somebody targeted the sister to get her sister Samantha back to Woodsboro. And then we find out later that Samantha's daddy is Billy Loomis, who started all of this mess, who was Sydney's boyfriend, who she ended up killing in the beginning. And then in Scream 2, Billy's mama came. And then in Scream 3, Sydney's illegitimate brother came. And then in Scream 4, her cousin was crazy. So it was just kind of like, oh my god, girl, all these family ties. So that all ended up happening. We ended up finding out that the killers in Scream 5 were her sister's boyfriend Richie, who Dewey said never trust a love interest. We found that out. And then it was his girlfriend Amber, who lived in Stu Macher, who was another killer's old house. So now that we got that part out of the way, at the end of that, it's Gail, Sydney. Unfortunately, Dewey dies in Scream 5. We have Samantha and Tara. And we also have Mindy and Chad, who are Randy's nieces and nephews. So his sister, Martha, those are her kids. So those are the ones who survive it. At the end of that, because of Dewey, the reason why Sydney comes back in the last one is because Dewey ends up dying. So that was kind of like the way to get her back, but they knew that was going to happen. And their motive simply was they just hated the stab films and they wanted to make something new. So they did. Whack, but it wasn't too bad. But one thing that I will say about Scream 5 that I did like was the fact that they played with Samantha being kind of crazy because Billy is her father. Now, the problem that I had with that one was the fact that I thought it was very hokey. For the longest time, Scream was based in reality. Ghostface was not a supernatural character, which meant he wasn't Jason. He wasn't Michael Myers where you're going to run from him and you're going to fall and you're going to be all out of breath and he's going to be around the corner. This is Ghostface falls, he trips, he's clunky, he's a person. So when they started to make it where she was crazy and kind of putting, I mean, she could very much be just a lot going on, okay? All our mental health is just up for stakes these days. But I just didn't like the way that it was done because it was so in our faces. In this one, they made it a lot, she was a reflection. So it felt more as if it was in her mind, whereas the last one, they just had him on the screen. He was just behind her or in a mirror, but it was so clear that it was him. And Skeet looks still great for his, but he don't look like he did in the 90s. So, you know, the de-aging and all that is just kind of like, with this, I felt like it was just enough. So now that we got that out the way, right? We've been here all day. When we meet them again after that, at the end of Scream 5, Gail said that she was not going to write a book about what happened because the book is what really started all this. The first Stab movie was made based on the Woodsboro murders by Gail Weathers. With this, she said she wasn't going to do it. Well, Gail lied. Gail decided to write a book about what exactly happened. And in that book, she made it seem as if Sam, even though she didn't lie on Sam. Okay, so Sam killed her boyfriend Richie because he was trying to kill her. But she stabbed him 22 times and slit his throat. Okay, I know. It's volatile. It's a lot. And she fucked his ass up. But, so because of what Gail wrote, now Sam is being framed, especially online by the fandom that radicalized Richie and Amber. They believe that Sam is actually a killer like her father because of the way she took out Richie, and they're now making it seem like she's the real issue and Amber and Richie are actually the victims. So because of the killers that we'll see later on, they also believe this rumor to be true. However, one of them actually is the one who starts the rumor. And this is the one thing I love about the Scream movies because it is very meta. It knows itself. When you look at the Stab movie, so if you watch the original Scream movie, which is the original with Drew Barrymore at the beginning, and then you watch Scream 2 and you watch Heather Graham and she is playing the in-universe version of that story, you notice that it says based on true events by Gail Weathers, but Drew never got in the bathtub. She never got in the shower. She was never half naked. She had on a sweater and some jeans. But we know how Hollywood does. And I love that they did that. So with Gail, she knows that if she embellishes, she knows for a fact it's going to sell more books. And again, Gail has a lot of arcs, but Gail is still a very, very, very selfish person. And she's been selfish for most of the time that we've known her. So I don't think this was out of the ordinary. In Scream 5, she and Neve Campbell felt like they phoned their performances in. And I don't think it was because they didn't want to. That was just what they were given. In this one, it definitely feels more like a new Scream movie. And it feels like what I thought 5 was going to be. But I think it was a respect level. And they didn't want to upset the fans that they were coming into. But when you have, they could do what they want with Megan too. Because again, that's Blumhouse. But when you have an IP, intellectual property that you have, you know, has a fan base already and you come into it, you don't want to be the person who rips it apart. Ask the people over there that was making Child's Play. Girl, don't do it. So with this, it definitely felt like they finally got to put their stamp on what they seemed to be right for their Scream movie. Because in Scream 5, it felt as if they were tiptoeing around Wes Craven's legacy to not disturb it too much, to be disrespectful, which I respected. But what it did do is it underutilized two characters in that, which was Sidney Prescott, who we didn't get in this one because of pay issues with Paramount, and then Gail Weathers, which I believe this is the best Gail I've seen since Scream 2. I liked her in Scream 3. In Scream 4, she was kind of whatever. But in Scream 3, her and Parker Posey, I love them together. But in this one, this is the Gail that I remember. The one that fights, the one that is selfish, the one that, even though Dewey's gone, because he did die in 5. And I do think that we had to get rid of someone. And the only person that would have worked, in my opinion, was Dewey, because we need Gail as that backbone, and Nev is never gonna let them kill Sydney, at least not her. So we already knew that it would have to be Dewey. And again, it is ridiculous, even though the whole thing was ridiculous when Richie said it's a little crazy that y'all keep on living, type of thing. In this damn franchise, it's like they are taking stabs like Tic Tacs. Sydney was stabbed in 1. We didn't see no scar in 2. In 3, she was stabbed. Was she stabbed or was she shot? She got socked. She was fighting though. Her and Roman, she was getting his. But a lot happened. In Scream 4, she was stabbed by Jill. No, she was stabbed by Jill once. Then she stabbed her again in the gut. Then in the hospital, Jill punched her in the stomach after she just had an operation, girl, and then she kicked her in her stitches. Right, okay. In Scream 5, she gets stabbed in the kitchen. I know Sidney Prescott's stomach looked like a damn pincushion. And then Gail was shot in 2. Was she shot? She got, no, okay, so she got a shot in 2. And 4, she got stabbed in the shoulder. And in 5, she got shot in the stomach again. Sam got stabbed in 5, and then he twisted it. Even in this 6th, people are getting slashed and stabbed in the back, and they just rolling up. Dewey was stabbed about 85 times, honey. In Scream 2, he didn't die because of his scar tissue from Scream 1. It was like bouncing off a wall, like a penny on a floor. But okay, so to Scream 6, okay, because we're all over the place. The movie was great. I enjoyed the movie a whole lot. I think that this is the best Scream movie since Scream 2, like I said in the beginning. I think that they did a really good job. The opening kill that they did with Samara Weaving was chef's kiss. It was not what we expect. And again, like I said, we expect that the person in the beginning that dies is going to be, once you see that title sequence, you know for a fact that we've officially started in this journey. When I didn't see that title sequence and the person took their mask off and we revealed who the killer was right away, the leak that I seen on Twitter pissed me the fuck off, because people were really out here just spreading the news. That was the only thing that I had seen that came to be true. I purposely stayed off Twitter, and I purposely was like, don't do this, because I did this with Scream 5 and it pissed me off. So whoever was out here leaking the Scream 6 situation because you knew somebody, I wish nothing but bad things for you, because you're trash. Anyway, the deaths in this movie, let's go to those. My favorite one out of everyone would be Annika's death, which was the ladder death. I've never had that. My nerves were on probation. They were bad. And I don't sit up like in the movies often. I was at the edge of my seat and I didn't realize it until I had to literally like readjust myself that I am losing my mind. My hand is over my face and I don't feel like this. I watch horror movies all the time. But this was what I missed so much. I haven't felt like this since I seen Strong Turn 1 in theaters. You know how long? I think it was like 2001 or was it 2005? I know it was a while. I got the DVD somewhere. But the storytelling from the moment that happens in the beginning and you see what happens, because it's not what y'all think it is. Okay, I know I said this is a spoiler review, but I don't want to talk about everything. I'll do another video for that. But the way the twists and the turns that we go through in this movie are so good. The relationships feel very real. I believe Annika and Mindy are a couple. I believe that Chad and Tara like each other and have a crush on each other. Samantha and Tara are actually sisters. In Scream 1, it didn't feel like that. Sam felt like a very hollow character, and because Sidney Prescott is such a whole character, it felt like we were getting gypped. I did not like Melissa Barrera in the last one, and I loved her in this one. So this just goes to show you how much it's not always the actor's fault. Sometimes it's just the writing. I can only do what's on the page. I can only do so much through my performance if I'm not written a very good character. And I feel like in Scream 5, a lot of the characters that were written, they were written poorly. Amber, Richie, and Liv, and Wes were all poorly written characters. They were plot holes and kind of plot devices so we could just kind of get from here to here. But in that one, why did Judy and her son needed to both die? What was the point of having him there to kill him and he not even see that his mom died? But they found out about it. Just made no sense. And when I seen the deleted scenes, it did take a lot away because we didn't even get a scene with Judy and Dewey. That's how we know, you know what I'm saying? That's how Judy was able to come back, because she used to work under Dewey, but they filmed it but didn't put it in the movie. So I feel like with this one, it was a lot less second guessing and a more let's go balls to the walls and show them what we can do for a Scream movie. And it truly paid off. I think that my second favorite kill of this would have to be the ending where the killers were. Now, I know some people I've seen say they didn't like the reveal of who the killers were. So the killers were, if you don't want to know, click off now. But the killers were Quinn, who we thought was dead, and I said never trust a fake body thrust out of a closet. And she was played by Liana Liberato, Jack Champion, who played Ethan, and Dermot Mulroney, who played Detective Bailey. And it explains why he got all that stuff, because he is a detective, and they are related to Richie, who Sam killed in Scream 5. Kirby comes back, which is played by Hayden Panettiere. We loved her in 4, and she was probably one of the best things about 4. People love Jill, like Emma Roberts, as a killer too, but in 4, Kirby was kind of like our Randy, but in a different way, because again, she's a female, but you know what I'm saying, she's not trying to give off nothing but her. Some people say I don't feel like was Kirby from that movie. She would be 30 now, and she would not be 17 anymore, so we're gonna start there. The wig was definitely disrespectful, and the 17-year-old Kirby would never. But outside of that, I think that Hayden did a great job. She was a great addition. She added to the story. It didn't feel like Scream 5 where they just shoehorned Gail and Sydney into because they needed to. This was Kirby was part of the story. Kirby was why it made sense, and Kirby was also one of those plot devices that made you second guess. Kirby was not the killer. It was a cop that was the killer, which I think is pretty obvious now that you watch it. Like, who would have all of the memorabilia stuff? But I even think that was great. Now, one thing I have to say that I thought was a little far-fetched is that this person, Richie, because it's Richie's family who's getting revenge because Sam stabbed him 22 times and slit his throat. So his family is getting revenge, and it's usually family ties in this. It was Sydney's brother, her cousin, her mom, that kind of started all of this. So I like that angle, but I thought it was interesting that you as an officer loved your son so much where you would steal all of this memorabilia for him to have his own. Like, I wish it would have just been props, because if it was props, it would have made more sense. Like, he just wanted to kind of have that kind of thing. So it kind of made it like you got this much evidence that's went missing and nobody is asking questions. Okay. Yeah. And the girl who played Quinn, I kind of knew, if you ever watch a horror movie, just remember this. If there's an off-screen death of any sorts, never ever count that the person is actually dead. Because usually that happened in 3 with Roman. We thought Roman was dead and Roman was the killer. So in this one, I seen when Quinn was getting attacked, that something is up with her, because there's no way that a body's gonna fly out like that and she's just gonna be dead. That's not gonna work. And then also we find out that the other boy that they kept trying to say was too innocent and too nice and too loving to be the killer gave me more red flags than anything, because he didn't have a backstory. And usually when a person doesn't have a backstory, we're out of the loop of who they are. We found out about everybody else and what they did, but he was the one person that we're like, they're trying to make him a red herring, but I think he is. And I kind of figured that he was related to Richie because of their curly hair. Call me crazy, but they could definitely go as, relatives. I didn't know that the detective would be the father, though. So I thought that was cool. And then this is the time we've gotten 3 killers. I don't know if they, correct me if I'm wrong, but did they say that the dad was doing the killings too, or is it just the kids? But my, I guess, second or third favorite death was of the dad and the son. The daughter was kind of cool, but the son that Tara did was everything, because I feel like the hokiness of Amber's death in Scream 5 pissed me off, the same way that Billy's CGI face pissed me off. So we'll stop there. But I will say, I love Scream 6. Will get a poster in my new apartment, condo, house, whatever, because it was a really, really, really good movie. And it's done Wes Craven's legacy proud. And as much as I love Neve Campbell, I did miss her. And I sucks to say that because she is like my favorite final girl ever. But they did, it just goes to show they did a really good job. And I know recently they did mention that she was at a con and Ski said she seen it and she really, really liked it. And also, before I go, let me say, Gail Weathers' new man was black and fine and died. Fine. Girl, I knew I loved me some Gail, girl. I mean, I love Dewey. Dwight will always be in my heart, girl, but you definitely rebounded because he was fine. He couldn't fight because he died, but oh, he was fine and he them us. Anyway, let me know what y'all think below. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you want to just watch a really good movie, go see it. I would say watch Scream 5 because you're gonna have. I mean, they explain it, but you watch Scream 5. If anything else, if you don't watch nothing else, watch Scream 5 because this is gonna make your viewing experience really good. And I want to say, Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, y'all did a wonderful job in this one. And Melissa, you earn my trust, girl. All right, I'll catch y'all in my next one. Peace.